Hi, welcome back to Retirement Clarity Radio. I am so glad you are with me. Thank you to my dozens and dozens of listeners all throughout the country for tuning in each and every week to find out how you can get clarity on your retirement, live the kind of retirement that you've always dreamed of, that you deserve, where you don't have to worry. You have complete peace of mind about everything that's going to happen, and you are all good to go to enjoy this next chapter in your life. Today, we are starting off our series on retirement lifestyle. So, as I've mentioned before, this podcast really has around 3 to 5 episodes per topic. So we did Social Security, then we did Medicare, then we did taxes. Now we're going to talk probably for the next 4 episodes on retirement lifestyle. What do we need to do to have the best lifestyle in retirement? And it's not going to be just dollars and cents on these episodes. So because obviously there's so much more to life and to retirement than just money. Money's going to allow us to do the things that we want to do, but I don't want to always focus on the numbers because that's not what's important. What's important is living a good, fulfilling, meaningful life. That's what's important. That's what's important to me, at least. If you're only focused on money, you are not going to like these episodes. Anyways, let's move on to today's episode, which is 4 questions to ask yourself before retiring in a different state. So I've kind of said before, you've worked hard your whole life, and retirement's kind of a time to take a step back, focus on the next chapter, and do the things that you really want to do outside of work. And a lot of the financial podcasts out there are focused on when to retire, and that's really important. Obviously, I do those projections and work as well for my clients, but another important question to ask in the retirement planning process is where you want to retire. For you, it might be, hey, I just want to stay at home. I just want to spend more time with my loved ones, with my community. That's great. For other people, maybe they want to travel a lot more, or honestly, maybe they even want to pick everything up, pack up their bags, and go somewhere new. Just try something new out. So if you've ever considered retiring in a different state, I've got 4 questions that I want you to ask with your spouse. And all of these questions are going to have a big impact on your quality of life in retirement. So let's just dive into the first question. The first question is a financial question. It's, what is the tax situation? Obviously, taxes can have a dramatic impact on the amount of disposable income, that free cash flow that you can have in retirement. But every state has different taxes, especially when it comes to retirement income. So it's really important that you understand what the different tax situations are before you make a move. So some key things to highlight: income taxes is the first one. Some states vary on how they treat retirement income. Some states might give you a break on your pension or Social Security payments, and retirement plan distributions whereas others will only give you a tax on Social Security benefits, and then some states won't give you, frankly, any benefits. And then there's other states that'll give you a break on interest and dividends, but not on wages. And that might be especially important in retirement because, hey, you won't have any wages, maybe. If you want to keep on working, that's great. But maybe you won't have any wages, and so you won't need to be worried about what the income tax is there. So step number 1, really try and figure out what the income tax situation is in this new state that you might relocate to. The next is property taxes. They're obviously going to vary by location, and some states do have some added benefits. It's really state specific, and I'm not going to get into the specifics of each state, but some states do have some added benefits for property taxes, and obviously some states just have a higher percentage that you're going to pay on your property taxes. Next is sales tax. Obviously, we're going to be buying hopefully a lot of fun things in retirement, so you want to just be aware of what sales taxes you're going to incur in the new state that you go to. Some states might have lower taxes in other areas like income, but have higher sales tax. And I'm looking at Tennessee. They actually have sales tax on groceries, whereas other states, they exempt the sales tax on groceries. So if that's like a new kind of bill that pops up. So if you want to move to Tennessee, and I love Tennessee, I've got friends there, but if you move there, you might say, hey, I'm going to have lower income taxes, but I got to be aware, man, those groceries, those Costco trips, they're going to add up with the added sales tax, whereas other states exempt the sales tax on groceries. And then estate taxes. This is a really big one. You got to, if you're going into retirement, you got to work with a qualified estate planning attorney. I am not one of those. I am aware of all the issues with estate planning, but I don't do any legal documents or creation of that kind of thing. But some states have an estate tax. So when you do have an estate tax, you might have to owe that at your passing and your spouse's passing. You also need to be aware that some states have a lower estate tax than the federal estate tax exemption. So, in other words, you may not owe a federal estate tax, but you may owe taxes at the state level. And so that's just really important for you to understand and prepare for that with a qualified estate planning attorney. Now, one important point, especially if you're going from a high income tax state or a high tax state into a lower tax state, is you want to make sure you establish your domicile correctly. Failure to do so can leave you with two tax bills, especially when the higher tax state sees you that you're leaving. They're going to kind of make sure that you're doing everything above board and you're fully establishing residency in the new state. If they think you're still in the current state but trying to just pay taxes in the lower state, then they might, give you that audit, and they might give you a tax bill saying, hey, you still owe taxes in what you thought was your former state. So there's a number of ways to establish a domicile, including buying or lease or renting a home in the new state, obviously changing your mailing address to the new state, updating the address on all of your legal documents and your bank accounts, and then also maybe even opening up a new bank account in the new state. So again, if you're going to go from a high tax state like a California, for instance, to Nevada, Arizona, something close by but lower taxes, got to establish domicile in your new state. Okay, that's my first question. What is the tax situation in the new state? The second question I want to ask you about retiring in a different state is, will my cost of living increase? This is pretty basic. I'm not going to go into depth on this one, but obviously there's some really high cost of living states. New York, California, Hawaii come to mind. And then there's states that have a lower cost of living, lower property prices. And, top of my mind, or at least top of my list on these list of states would be probably Arizona, Nevada, Tennessee, Florida. I love those states, and they do have affordable property and lower cost of living. So if you're going to switch states, just see how much further your dollar can take you. If you're going from one of these high income states where everything price-wise is inflated, but you're going to a lower cost state, maybe try and find like a cost of living calculator that'll compare your current state to the new state and see how much further your money is going to be able to take you in that new state. That's really important. Third question about retiring in a different state: is the quality of healthcare easily accessible, and is it affordable? Hopefully, God willing, you haven't had too many medical expenses throughout many of your working years. When we get to retirement, when we get to age 65 and above, we're simply, just fact of life, we're simply going to have more medical expenses, more medical issues than we had previously. There's no way around it. So what we want to do is, when we move, we want to make sure that there's a quality healthcare plan in our new living area. We want to make sure that we have the doctors and health professionals that we need that will be able to get you the services that you need. So it's really easy to type in your new location, the zip code, see what health insurance providers are out there, and then see what the rates are going to be. One important point is that if you're on a current health provider right now, and you switch and you move to a new state, but you stay on the same health provider, your rates may be drastically different because that's going to be depending on your location, not necessarily the health provider. So even if you're going to keep the same provider, your rates may be different. You've got to just have eyes wide open in terms of the accessibility of healthcare in your new location, as well as what the affordability is going to be on it. Okay, so yeah, kind of make sure we have quality healthcare in whatever different state that we go to. And then the last thing, and I know this might be basic, but hey, what is there for retirees to do? There's a great book out there. It's called The New Retirementality by Mitch Anthony, The New Retirementality. I'd go pick that up on Amazon, or go get it at a library if you want. But he talks a lot in his book on a lot of people get to retirement and they just don't have as much motivating them in life as they did in their working years. That maybe your kids are grown and gone, your career's over or it's really part-time now. And a lot of people in retirement kind of have a little identity crisis. What am I going to spend my time on? How am I going to provide meaning to the world, to myself? And what I really don't want for you is just to get to retirement and just, be staring at a TV all day because you have nothing else to do. No one wants that. So what is there going to be in this new location for you to do? Specifically, how are you going to be able to interact with other retirees? Do you want to interact with other retirees? There's retirement planning communities that you could be a part of. You can move into one of those master communities where you're living around other retirees. Some retirees don't want to be in those types of communities. They want to be with maybe a more diverse population, different age groups, just to give a different feel for that. But that's something to think about. What is there going to be for you specifically to do? And then do you want to interact with a lot of other retirees? Do you want to go to special events catered to them? Or do you want to just kind of be part of the general population and not really be age specific? But it's something really important for you to think about. And I definitely go recommend picking up that book, The New Retirementality by Mitch Anthony, to make sure that you have a strong sense of purpose and meaning and fulfillment in your retirement, so that you're just going to make the best of it and live your best life possible. So that's the 4 questions I really want you to ask with your spouse, with your family, whoever's important to you. Retiring in a different state, I think it can be a lot of fun to see a new place. I love seeing new places and exploring. You could also stretch your retirement income. It could give you a better quality of life in this new chapter of life. But not every state, frankly, is great for retirement, and some states are better than others. So if you're thinking about retiring in a different state, I really want you to ask these 4 questions. What's the tax situation? Will my cost of living increase? Is quality healthcare easily accessible and affordable? And then what is there for retirees to do, and kind of what do I want to spend my time doing in retirement? Go pick up that book by Mitch Anthony, The New Retirementality. Also, if you want my retirement readiness checklist, it kind of goes through some of these issues and a few others, go to retirementworksheets.com. Again, that's retirementworksheets.com. I just need some short contact information, and then we'll send you a PDF copy of that checklist. That's all I've got for today. I'll see you next time. Have a great week. Bye.
Thanks again for listening. As a reminder, you should consult with a financial advisor familiar with the specific circumstances of your unique financial situation before making any financial decisions. Nothing in this podcast is a solicitation for the sale or purchase of any securities. Any mentions of rate of return are hypothetical in nature and not a guarantee of future returns. Scott Newhouse, CFP, is an investment advisor representative of Forthright Finances, a California and Nevada registered investment advisor.